Hi, I'm Peter Cowan, the Bee Whisperer. Today I'm in my Hampden yard at long last. I've done some of my out yards and got them split right down, but I still have a lot of hives here to process and get them balanced out. And as it happens, I'm into a rush. I've got also a shortage of queens coming in, so I'm not going to have as many queens as I want to have, which means I'm not going to be able to split these hives as thoroughly as I'd like. Normally I'd take these big hives like these over here, and I would split them down to maybe 3, 4, or even 5 or 6 nukes a piece. But I'm not going to have enough queens to be able to do that. So what I'm going to do instead is what I would do with honey production hives, and that is equalize the strength of the hives. So I'll take hives that are in danger of becoming overcrowded and in danger of swarming, and taking the some of the strength out of them and put that into hives which are smaller, which I've got plenty of smaller hives as well, and they're going to absorb some of the surplus energy in these hives. In this way I'll avoid having them up there. So if I can avoid having them in the trees this week, I'm doing well. So I've got a lot of hives to get through at the moment, and we'll see what we can do. Okay, here is a hive. I've just tipped back the super, and we can see right now that we're going to have to split this hive because we've got loads of queen cells developing here. And so now that this hive has taken the decision it wants to swarm, then I've got to split it right down to get that need to swarm out of their system. Once they decide to swarm, they want to swarm. It's time to do something about it. It's too late to do anything by like putting just room on. So for example, what happened? Let me explain. This hive has got the bottom brood chamber, second brood chamber, and I just put a third one on yesterday to try and buy me some time. The bees are starting to move up into there, but it's too late. They'd already taken the decision to swarm, and so now I've got some time today. I've got to split this hive down and make them feel like they have swarmed. So I've got to get it down to roughly half the size that it was and cut out the queen cells, or split it down entirely into multiple nukes, and this way we'll get the swarming out of the system. Now I can put some of the strength into a number of these smaller hives, which is what I'll probably do. But if I find the queen, I'll make multiple nukes out of it instead. So time to get on with it. Okay, so I've been through it and found the queen. Remarkably, I found her on a frame of honey, which is not normally the case, but she shows up pretty well. That's a beautiful big queen. So in this case, I'll keep her to one side. Now if I just wanted to thin this hive down and stop it swarming, what I do now is what I'm going to do. I'm going to take a lot of these frames of brood out and put them into hives that are in need of a boost of strength. So we'll take let's say these 2 colonies here. They will have a bit more room. This colony, both of them are growing up nicely. Yeah, they've got, let's see, looks like 6 or 7 frames of bees here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 to 7 frames of bees, so the cluster's going nicely here. They're expanding into the growing comb on the edge. So what I'm going to do is take a frame of foundation out of it, and I'll take a frame of foundation out of this one, and open up some space in the middle. Open up some space in the middle here. These hives are not in any danger of swarming because they're only just growing into the box that they're in right now. Now I'll go over to the hive that has the surplus strength in it. And it had queen cells, which I've already started to cut out. And so I'm checking one more time for queen cells, but we know the queen's not here. So I can just put this frame of brood and resources into this hive, bees and all. Because you don't want to put a frame of honey flow on, so it's okay to move bees from one hive into another hive. But you don't want to shake the bees off a frame like this, because those bees are already looking after as much brood as they can look after. So I'm putting bees, brood, resources, everything in this hive all at once. Make sure they've got enough bees to look after it. So that's only 2 frames of bees that have managed to move. And then this hive is now ready for its next box. And I'll do the same thing in the next in 2 more hives as well. So we come around this way.
Okay.
So what we're doing here is called equalizing the strength of the hives. So both these hives are a little less strong than those 2. So this one is smaller than those 2 here. I'll bet there's only about 5 frames of bees underneath. Maybe 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. A good 2 frames less than the other hive. So this one equalizes the strength. What I can do is take out a couple of frames of comb or foundation, and we're going to put more bees into this hive. And this one, I'll take 1 frame of foundation out, a little bit stronger than that one. So this is just to give you an idea of what I would do with them. I'm going to move, when I'm putting frames of brood in, I want to put them in the middle amongst the midst of the cluster that's already going. I don't want to break up the pattern of the cluster. So I'm going to put 2 frames of brood in this one, and maybe a frame of resources. So, get some more brood. Double checking for queen cells. So this thing should go straight in. That one done. Lovely frame of brood here. That looks like resources. One frame of brood. Oh, 2 more frames. This is mostly resources here. So I'll put 1 frame of resources. A little bit of brood. That'll go on the outer edge. What I'll do is put the brood in here first so I don't risk squashing the queen in there. Because I've got no more brood up top here, I might take a frame of brood from down below. I've got to go through the rest of this hive looking for queen cells because I've got to squish them out. Just resources here. little bit of young brood here, lots of pollen. Just want to make sure there's no queen cells. There's a nice frame of emerging brood on one side. No queen cells, but I want to take more bees out of this hive. There we go. That's a nice frame of brood. Young brood on this side, cat brood on the other. So that'll go in here. Which were relatively small, but growing nicely, and I've made them up to about 6 frames of brood in each. Whereas I've taken out 5 frames of brood from that hive and made sure I will go through this hive now, make sure all the queen cells have been removed, and then I'll put a super foundation on it, and that will stop this hive from swarming. They feel like they've lost a good half of their strength, and so that's the important thing. So I'll go through it, just checking for queen cells. Most queen cells are usually in the upper brood chamber, but there's often some in the lower brood chamber as well. This hive will then be good to go. So if I wasn't making lots of news, bees all over the camera. The bees love Cameron, and they seem to like the camera because Cameron's holding it. So that's just the way it is with Cameron. So a little bit of smoke towards you here. Come a bit closer, Cameron.
Save me.
Bees are fine, but it's always hilarious when Cameron's around the bees just love Cameron. Okay, so this hive is now reduced to the point where I would not expect it to swarm. I'll put this box of foundation on top. If I put the queen back in there, I'm not expecting this hive to swarm. So that's what I would recommend to do to prevent swarming. But as it happens, I'm making nukes. So instead of just doing that, I'm going to take a diversion from that route. And now, having checked the hives for queen cells, instead I'm going to make some nuke here, and some lucky customers are going to get the strength of that queen, some lovely brood, and we'll make a nice nuke from it. I hope you found that useful. So again, we've been working our way through. Go through the bigger colonies. We need to make more room in these big colonies, and if we can make a nuke out of it by finding the queen, great. If not, what we're going to do is split the strength among some of these smaller colonies behind you. So not much going on in this super, because we'll put this on just to make some extra space. Bees are going up here, but they're drawing comb. There's no space for the queen to lay here yet. So we'll move down here. And we have, where's our smoker?
Right behind you. It's a little hot.
If you come right in, Cameron, if you just come right over here. And just zoom right in on these queen cells here, here, here. See, they're being extended beyond the bottom bar. Lots of them up here, here. So again, we've got a colony here that will swarm within a week. So it's essential that we split this colony right down. You can see it's got loads of brood from here to here. 8 frames of brood upstairs. plus probably 7 or 8 frames of brood downstairs as well. In fact, it is 8 frames of brood downstairs. Unbelievably strong colony. Hardly surprising it wants to swarm. So probably a week late in getting that box on to prevent them swarming. But a colony this strong is likely to want to swarm anyway, even if you did put extra space in. So when you come across a colony like that, you just have to start splitting it down. So we're going to be looking for the queen. Of course, it's always hard to find the queen in a super strong colony like this. And as we go through, we're going to cut out queen cells like this. Some people call that a supersedure cell. This is incorrect. It's not a supersedure cell because we have multiple queen cells for swarming here. It just happens that they built some in the middle. But that is what a supersedure cell would look like. But basically, when they're wanting to swarm, they'll build swarm cells wherever they can fit them. Lots of cat brood. And the brood's starting to emerge, so this colony is starting to really take off in strength now. See all this brood starting to emerge. The queen has already been in there, backfilling with more eggs. What a super queen we've got here. In fact, I may very well keep her to breed from if we find her. Another thing I like about these bees, look how still they're staying on the comb. Even though hives around them have been stirred up and there'll be alarm pheromone floating all over the place right now, they're still staying pretty calm. Let's get close right up to this queen cell right here. Now if I went through this whole colony and cut out every queen cell, that would temporarily stop swarming, because the swarm will never leave the colony unless there's a queen cell getting close to emerging. And this colony got very, very close to it. There's some capped queen cells that I've just cut out, but most of them are open. So if you successfully go through the hive and cut out every queen cell, you'll stop swarming for that week or so. But what the bees are going to do is they will build queen cells again right away. And you've got to go back in there within a week and remove the next queen cells they've built. And so on, and keep on doing it, because they'll keep on rebuilding queen cells. As long as there is a good flow of nectar coming in, the hive still is strong, if not stronger. It's continuously getting stronger. So the urge is getting stronger and stronger to swarm, but they will not leave unless there's a new queen ready to, in the hive, ready to emerge and be the new queen of the hive. Now, what that means is that if you miss a single queen cell, and some of them can be pretty hard to see, if you miss a single queen cell and you thought you've got it, well then you're going to have a swarm. So cutting out queen cells is not a very reliable way to stop swarming, because you've got to go through every single frame and remove every single queen cell, and it's very, very easy to miss it unless you go through the hive and shake the bees off every frame. Even with an experienced eye, the chances that I'm getting every single queen cell out this way is probably less than 50%. So it is a way to stop the hive swarming, but from past experience I can tell you that chances are within a couple of 2 or 3 weeks you're going to have a swarm, because you're eventually going to miss a queen cell. Worse still is when you cut out all the queen cells from the hive and then suddenly realize the hive is already swarmed. Now you're in trouble, because the way bad luck happens is that if you've gone through the hive, cut out all the queen cells, and then realize the hive is swarmed, chances are you were very effective and you got every single queen cell, and now the hive is stuck with no queen cell and no prospect of making a new one. So you don't want to do that. So cutting out queen cells is fraught with risk as a means of controlling swarming. But no matter what I do here, I'm planning on taking out those queen cells anyway. That's why I'm taking them out now, where I can see them. However, if you're wanting to do a split, these queen cells are super fat and healthy and would give you some very, very nice queens. But right this time of year, I'm not in the business of having queens going out to mate. I bring in mated queens, so I'm selling a known product that way. In another few weeks, when my rush for making nukes is over, at least my nukes for sale, then I might be making some nukes for myself, and I may very well take advantage of queen cells. But by then, of course, I'll have very few queen cells because I've already split my hives. So we talk about making queens in another way by grafting instead. The lovely smell of pollen and nectar in the hive, developing brood. Many few less queen cells down below. So far I haven't found a queen cell down below, but there are queen cells in the upper story, but not this lower story. Warmer up there. Best place to raise a queen. Bees are still staying calm, even around Cameron. But the colonies as big as this, the chances of finding a queen becoming progressively smaller and smaller, because you're dealing with so many frames, so many bees. Even an experienced eye to challenge finding the queen. I'm down to 2 more frames to go, and we haven't found the queen yet. Chances are she was on one of the frames we've looked at already. On these outside frames you find all your big concentrations of drones. That's where the drones hang out, is the outside frames. Half the bees on these frames are drones. To the queen, so I'm going to work backwards looking for the queen. If we don't don't find, or at least what we know, is we've gone through every frame twice and removed all the queen cells we could find. So at least I've got some feeling of security that we've prevented this hive from swarming temporarily. It buys me a little bit of time. But as I say, can't rely on that 100% because I could easily have missed a queen cell.
No luck?
Okay, so 8 frames of brood in this lower brood chamber. We've gone through every frame. And so what we're going to do next is change tack. So, although we don't expect the queen is down here, at least not yet, we've still got 8 frames of brood to go through up here. But working on the assumption that I'm not going to find the queen up there, so what we're going to do is start transferring brood from these hives to less strong hives. So let's open up a couple of less strong hives. Let's have a look at this one here. Okay, only about 4 or 5 frames of bees there. A bit more here, maybe 6 or 7 frames here. Take out a couple of frames. What we're going to do is go through this stronger hive. You see the queen? You see the queen. Now before I close it. So first of all, we'll look very thoroughly at the queen here. Mostly drones. Ah, and here's the queen.
There we go.
Right here. Considering how full this colony is of brood, it's amazing this queen is so small. Okay, so we've got a nuke on our way. Queen. And that's making life a lot easier because now I can transfer frames of bees with eggs and all. With bees, I can transfer the frames of brood along with the bees on them. If I couldn't find the queen, what I was going to do is shake the bees off and transfer frames of brood that way. It's warm enough and the weather forecast is excellent. It would have been fine to do that. Frame of resources. So, now what I'm going to do, I'm going to strip it out. But what I would have done is I would have taken all of this brood, and instead of putting a nuke out here, I'd have gone through each frame, shake the bees down below, and transfer the frames of brood into other hives. Then give it a super foundation, and now the colony would have been split down in half. And that way is another way of stopping the swarming. You reduce the colony down to at least half its strength, and then give them plenty of room to expand and leave them with the old queen there. But instead, now I can split this hive right up. So this nuke is complete, but now we're going to transfer some of this energy into other colonies that need it. Frame of brood. Cut out the queen cells. Another frame of brood. Another frame of brood. Another frame of brood and resources. That. These are ready for another brood chamber. Got one here. Now this colony is going to grow very rapidly into this box. This hive needs some more room. I've got some comb from the splits and the foundation here. Putting the foundation on the outside and the drawn comb in the middle. Foundation in here, and this hive is ready to go. And we can still boost a few more, so why don't we have a look at a couple more colonies while we still got that brood to move around. Not bad shape as it is. Just one more frame. Compared to the others though, it's still room for growth. Doesn't seem to be preferable. She got some sauces. Both of these again are ready for another super. What we'll do is make nukes out of the rest there. Okay. Cut that. I'm Peter Cowan, the Bee Whisperer. See you next time.